This is a Fiskars axe. It's plastic, it's a modern design, and it's about as far from the traditional tools I love as it's possible to get. But is it revolutionary new take, or is it plastic tap? Well, today we're going to look at some Fiskars tools, and I'm going to give you my verdict. Hello, welcome to English Country Life. Welcome to the garden on a day that's starting to feel like spring. My name's Hugh, and together with Fiona, who's got a sore paw and is working the camera, I run a smallholder in here in rural Lincolnshire. And we use hand tools, and we use them hard because that's the kind of life that we live. And to be honest, it won't come as a surprise to people who are regular viewers of the channel to know that I love traditional tools. This is an American style cruiser axe, double-bitted axe with different grinds on it. Came to me as a rusty head, and I've fully restored it to the 24-inch, really useful, light portable axe that it is. This axe I designed. I worked with a guy called Michael Cronje, who's an internationally acclaimed axesmith, and I designed this axe to be the perfect lightweight backpacking bushcraft axe. Weighs in under 500 grams, under a pound. You can carry it around, but it's man enough to do the job, and it gets over a lot of the things I don't like about some of the other axes like Grants for Brooks or Wettlings. I'm only telling you that to sort of establish the fact I know a bit about tools. I've designed them, I've restored them, I've worked hard on them. And a good long time ago now, some tools like this came out from Fiskars. It's an axe, but it's got a one-piece integral composite hollow handle. And I looked at that and I thought, well, that won't flex like wood. You can't replace it if it breaks. That's a piece of plastic tat. But as I say, we do work our tools hard here. And for other people who are smallholders, homesteaders, allotmenteers, tools that will take a lot of hard work and work well are really important. And over time, I have tried a number of these types of tools. And today, I want to share with you what I've found out about them and what conclusions we've drawn. To give us a good basis of comparison, I'm going to compare this Fiskars X17 axe with a large Wettlings axe, which is a hand-forged quality axe. Let's look at the difference in design and performance. I want to show you the design of a standard general purpose axe. It has what's called a convex bit. It curves in towards the cutting edge, and that means that the blade is far less likely to get stuck in splitting work. That's what this Wettlings has. It works, and it works well. Now, I would want a broader blade for a purpose-built splitting axe, but this is a general purpose axe, so it's used for both cross-cutting and splitting, and for that function it's fine. This is the blade profile of the X17, and as you can see, it's a lot fatter here, which makes it much more of a splitting axe, much less of a cross-cutting axe. But what is weird is the cheeks of the blade actually curve in slightly there, and that's far from traditional for a splitting axe. It's also ground flat, so it's flat there, and then there's a little bit of a steeper angle, what's known as a secondary bevel at the end. And again, that's not normal. Convex is normal for a splitting axe. So the X17 does not follow the conventions. But actually, when I think about it, will it work? I think it will. And it'll be a lot easier to sharpen. Let's find out. Let's look at some other aspects of the design on this. So this traditional axe has a wooden handle that goes through the head and is wedged in the top to stop it coming loose. Now, the most common way of damaging a handle is when splitting, it actually whacks into the workpiece here and you start getting cumulative damage there. When it comes too bad, you can simply cut off the handle, remove the wedged piece and replace it with a new handle. The Fiskars is nothing like that. The handle is completely integral to the head. It's not replaceable. It's wrapped around the steel of the head. It's also hollow. Now, I had a few worries about this. One of them was, would it cause hand shock? i.e., is the handle rigid and smacks into your hand? Another one is, am I going to get loads of damage on the helve here and find out that basically I've got to throw the axe away? That was my initial fears, and that's why I was resistant to them to start with. I've split over 60 cubic meters of wood using that axe and a hydraulic splitter, using them together, the small pieces with the axe, large pieces with the splitter, but also using the axe to support the splitter where extra fibres needed chopping, where a workpiece needed knocking off the wedge of the splitter. And honestly, that axe is like new. Now the Fiskars, I have since found out, come with a 25-year warranty on the X series of axes, and that says it isn't going to need replacing. They don't offer those kind of warranties if they think the axe is going to fail. And after all that work, the X17 that I've got looks like new. It isn't going to give up anytime soon. Everyone knows what an axe is. This tool may be a bit less familiar to a lot of people. I call it a log pick, some people call it a sappy, some people call it a hookeroon or a pickeroon. It's a kind of spike on a handle that you jam into a log to help you move it. If you're trying to move something like that, which is a big heavy piece of seasoned ash, if you're trying to lift that with your back, you're really going to do yourself a mischief. So what I do with something like this is just smack it into the log, and look, it's dead easy to pull and lift, and I can actually stick that onto a sack truck using a log pick, and it makes my life so much easier. I can manipulate wood for firewood processing. Now I do have the Fiskars equivalent of that log pick. What do I think about it? I think this is much better than the old wooden one I've got down there. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but it is, and it's like that for two reasons. One, the angle of the blade is much shallower, which actually makes it much easier to dig into the wood. The other thing is the tool itself is much lighter, and it has the same kind of hollow handle as the axe, and I don't get hand shock from that at all. But being a lighter tool, I don't have to expend as much effort to jam it into the log. One of the tools that Fiona and I use a lot around the small holding is Branchloppers. We've got a lot of trees that need managing, they get in the way. We've got weed trees like this old elder that come up that we don't want there, and a Branchloppers is a great tool for doing it. So here's the thing, I'll break them, and I'll break them regularly. Probably because I'm making them do tasks that are more than they're really designed to do. But when you've got them with you and you come across something like this, you think, right, I'm having it, and you go in there and you and you start squinching on it, and eventually maybe you get it to fall. There we go. So after I'd broken the numptieth pair of Branchloppers, Fiona bought me these, a Fiskars set, and they do have a bit of a hidden weirdness. They've got gearing here, so that means on the downside, you really have to open those handles wide to fully open the jaws. On the upside, it gives me mechanical advantage. It's actually easier in the cutting stroke. Now, I consider myself to be a pretty big, strong bloke. You saw how much I struggled cutting that piece of elder. Let me show it to you using the Fiskars. So we open the blades up wide, put the handles there, and kaboom. Really, really easy. Now, as I say, be aware, you do have to open them wide. So when you're working at height, that can be a bit awkward. But the advantage of that gearing is huge. And I haven't managed to break them yet. As well as all the big gardening and forestry tools, Fiskars do a small range of tools as well for kind of smaller gardening and domestic use, etc. And like all the other tools in this video, we bought and paid for everything I'm going to show you. Now I've brought 3 out as a selection, and that selection's for a very good reason. There's one I like, one I don't like, and one that's kind of, yeah. So let's have a look at them, and I'll explain why I feel that way. We'll start with secateurs, and these fall under the heading of, yeah. I bought this pair this year because I'm doing a lot of pruning here. We've got a massive orchard, we've got 2 fruit cages, we've got loads of other fruit bushes, and I spend in the spring well over 60 hours just pruning for getting a good crop this year, and it really takes it out as secateurs. But this pair stood up to it really, really well. At the end of all of that work, they're still sharp, they work absolutely fine, no problem whatsoever. I'll give them a clean and oil and a very light shot and put them away. Done a great job. We've got a smaller pair that's passed the Fiona torture test, which is you do some pruning, you toss your secateurs in the trunk with the prunings, you throw the whole lot, including the secateurs, into the compost bin, and I retrieve them a year later when I dig out the compost. So if they can survive that, they're properly corrosion resistant. So they're fine, but there's just nothing revolutionary about them. They're just a well-designed, well-made pair of secateurs. On to something I don't like. Fiskars trowels. Brilliantly made, big, fat, comfortable handles, and that matters to me because at the moment I've got 300 sweet corn over in the greenhouse. I daren't put them out because we've lost sweet corn as early as, or as late as, the 1st of May when we've had very late frosts. So I'll keep them in the greenhouse till 2nd week of May and then I'll transplant them all out. But I prefer something with a much shallower bowl on my trowel. I just find that deep bowl sort of digs weird shaped holes. It doesn't work for me. I prefer a shallower bowl. Now it's well made, it's never rusted, it's never broken, it's very strong, but I don't like the design of the trowel blade. Onto something I do like, scissors. For years, as an idiot, as a man who really cares about tools, I've used cheap kitchen scissors, and these are junk, and they're not only junk, they're dangerous. I actually managed to injure myself on an earlier take of this video with cheap scissors. I was trying to demonstrate how good scissors and bad scissors work differently. Now these have changed my life. These are Fiskars Pro Power Arc scissors, and this is about ½ centimetre thick woody rosemary. Look at that. I managed to sort of cut my hand by breaking a cheap pair of scissors doing a job like that. So if you've got a friend who's a cook or a chef who needs a pair of scissors, I really recommend these. They are Fiskars Pro Power Arc. They're honestly the tool in all of these that I'm most pleased with at the moment. So what are my conclusions? Well, I'm always going to love a traditional, well-made, craftsman-built tool that is restorable and maintainable, and I'm not going to change my mind on that. But I have changed my mind about Fiskars. I've worked with these tools a lot now. I don't want to do a review after 5 seconds or an unboxing video. With this axe, I split in the last year 60 cubic meters of firewood. Now that's using a hydraulic splitter, but this is for chopping through those last wood fibers, knocking things that are stuck on the ram, etc. And it's worked really hard. And honestly, it's come up like new. All our kindling gets chopped with that. It's been a fantastic piece of kit. It's been tough, it's been reliable, and things like this come with a 25-year warranty from Fiskars. And you know what I'm like about manufacturers who stand behind their products, like Nistera do with a 25-year warranty. To me, that says they have confidence, they know it's not going to go wrong, and you know what? My experience says they're right. They're tough tools, the handles are relatively shock absorbing, they don't corrode much in use. You know, even things like trowels are showing no signs of rust after years and years of use. So overall, if you're the sort of guy like me who works his tools hard, then yeah, absolutely, I think Fiskars are well worth a look. And I've just found out they do a range of digging tools like spades and forks, etc. And just to show what an animal I am working my tools hard, I've managed to bend my fork completely. Probably, if I'm being fair, doing tasks that were somewhat beyond its capabilities. But if you've used Fiskars spades and forks, I'd love to hear in the comments what you think of them, because I'm thinking I should probably try some of them as well, because it is so easy when you do as much as we do to damage your tools by working them too hard. If you've enjoyed today's video, can you spare us 5 seconds? Give us a thumbs up down below. If you'd like to see reviews of the other types of tools we use, please leave us a comment down below, tell us what you're interested in, and we'll try and make those videos for you. And I'd love to hear your impressions of Fiskars tools as well. Am I right, or have you got a different opinion? Now, if you want to see other videos that we make like this, please tap on subscribe down there. Hit the bell next to it. It's a free service, but you get to hear every time we upload a new video. But for today, thanks for watching. Come back and see us soon. Take care.